Hi, I'm Liz.
And I'm Rhea.
Welcome to Karma's My Bitch, a podcast about
sex,
love,
magic,
desire,
purpose,
bliss,
and how life isn't simply the stories we tell ourselves. So this episode is about magic.
Yes, thankfully. I mean,
in a bliss season.
Yes. So imagine if this were a 20 episode season as opposed to 25. This would be, we're in like the latter part, which is always the like, what does this concept look like in the larger world?
How do we make it work for us?
Exactly. And because this is, we have the extra 5 episodes, so it's a 25 episode season. And this is actually one of the 5 extras, which means for this particular season, the 5 extras are somehow pivotal bits of information that we somehow will end up using or will lead to some bigger idea later.
Okay, this one is about magic, but from season 12 we know that love is necessary for magic.
Yes.
And actually it makes sense to me because love, as we've spoken in all the karmic books, and we've explained why through the karmic books, is the catalyst for much of our healing and also the beyond stuff. Right? And you can look at that from like the lowercase love of allowed us to like come out of our shitty realities one brief moment at a time.
Yeah, because it allows us to romanticize things, gives us hope.
Exactly. And as you said in one of our meditations, which I think about a lot, to be honest, hope is effectively parts of our fate. You don't hope for things that are not in your fate.
Yeah.
And I loved that. It just made me feel like hope was just not substantiated, but legitimized hope in a way that I don't think I'd quite appreciated. So effectively, love was that light that we showed. That's why we called it Love is Shining Our Light for Others to See. It's because every time we make a choice through that, we are shining that light that comes from our bigger selves. Yeah.
And when we are shining,
fate.
And when we are shining our light and others around us are shining our light, that light connects us all.
Yes.
And that's really what helps with oneness. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so love isn't a fabulous concept, which then we come into the season, we're like, well, is love big enough for bliss? Not quite.
And then we also said in this season, which I actually really liked, that it's not that I'm in love with you, is that we're in bliss together. And I thought that was really beautiful because that actually is just, it's, I think, what I thought was love when I was younger, but actually that's what it actually was. Yeah. So it wasn't so much love, but bliss. Yeah. Because so I was into it.
Right.
After all.
Thank God, because I always worried about that. Because I think there was like that one season you're like, we really threw love under the bus. And I was like, I was really upset about it. I know
but
you
now
were.
I realize what it was, which is because actually if it's connection, then yes, you can have love when you're shining your light in front of the other person and like with them and all the rest of it. And that's love. But if you're both in bliss together, that means that you're sharing bliss. Like how fucking cool is that? It's even better.
Yeah, it's like way better. So if you can imagine that divine power, which is creative power, right, which is beyond anything we've ever really experienced, creates a certain amount of space because it needs space, as we said, to do all that creating. Love cannot fill all that space. It just isn't enough energy.
Yes, and so so that's why divine power is kind of like, I was going to say more powerful, but it is.
If we could define a word without using the same word.
It's going to be impossible, but that makes sense. So what bridges the space between what love creates for us and when we're just exercising our divine power and just being all divine powery all the time?
Yeah, that's magic.
Okay, so that's why it's the M in our name between K and B.
Exactly.
Fine.
And, I think in one episode we defined magic as all is possible. Right? Yes. Or something like that?
Yes. But in another episode, we defined it as shifting from one reality to another.
Yes.
It was the one where we talked about where there was one reality where there was a chocolate cake and one reality where there wasn't. And you're moving from the reality where there isn't one to going to eat some fudge.
Yeah. So for the sake of today's episode, magic is understanding that one reality is not necessarily the only reality. And we can create an entirely new one with our divine will and the capacity of our imaginations. That's how we're going to, I think it's cool.
It elevates magic, which is basically you can create whatever reality you want because you're divine and all you have to do is imagine it. Yeah, into it.
Yeah. Thank you for summing that one up very simply and succinctly.
It makes sense, though. It does make sense. I'm not going to sit here and have to explain it, but it makes sense. Like, even in the smallest minutiae, when we're talking about karmic stuff, there's a reality where you think karma is the only thing that is.
Yeah,
but
your shitty reality is the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can imagine something more, so you choose differently, exercising love, and you create something new. So that's just taking that on like a much bigger scale to be like, not just, it's not shitty anymore, but it's everything I want, because all is possible. That's how those two link.
Yeah. And so the more we experience that magic, and we get to experience our power, and we're like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I managed to achieve this without sweating over it, or without stressing over it, without giving myself days to like build myself up for it. It just kind of happened. Oh, wow. That was quite, it wasn't that
I was
magical.
clear on what I wanted and I got it.
Yes, exactly. So like anything we sort of play in, the more we do it, the more we like it, because we're like, ooh, that I affected change in this area. Let me see if I can do it over here.
You know, experience becomes normal. This all feels quite normal to me. I want to try something bigger. Now, you do want to keep pushing and seeing if you can get more, because it's become so natural, but also you can't imagine a time where you didn't have it.
Oh, you don't. You almost can't even remember it anymore. Like, you can maybe recall certain cringy moments or whatever, but at the same time, you cannot connect energetically to that person or that time. You've moved so far past it.
And I guess that's why it's so critical. It's literally how you start understanding how powerful you are and what your divine self really is. Because it's not necessary. If someone else tells you to do something and you do it, you think, oh, wow, they're really wise, or they know what they're talking about, or whatever else. But if you act on your knowing plus, which we've discussed, and it works, that high is unlike no other, because you realize just how powerful you are.
And I could do it on my own.
Yeah. You start really understanding, wait a second, if I can do anything, why am I not creating everything that I want?
I mean, to be fair, there are going to be those exceptions. And I was kind of like, are we sure we want to throw an exception in an episode? Because I was like, for the sake of like not confusing people. But it does help to explain, though, that not everybody will go through a magical period, because you really don't go from karma to bliss. Even those bliss babies or those younger generations, they don't necessarily like come right into bliss, because they need to be able to adjust to this world. So those who might skip magic, they do so because they're really fully in their fate and purpose. So they're channeling their power and force in such a way through all of that light that they're not going to stop and slow down to play in magic. They can't be fucked, right? They're just like, gotta go.
So
got too much to do.
Do they not use magic at all then, or is it just
they will not use magic? It's just not necessary for them. It's
because
all about force,
and their fate is strong, because all of our fates are strong.
Yes,
so.
but their connection and relationship to their fate is that powerful. That for them, that's like, I don't have time. I do not have time to like play. And so even if they go out and party and do things, like, it's not to say that they're antisocial or they're so fate or mission focused that is their entire lives. But for them, even their social time is bracketed in a way where it does not interfere with anything else. They are still, they're moving forward regardless.
How can you tell if you're one of those people?
Joy is not a big factor in your life. It's not to say that fate doesn't bring you a sense of satisfaction, you know, that you living your purpose isn't really like a method to happiness, but it's not about the daily joy. But it's not to say that this person isn't capable of having fun, but these are all bracketed moments to them. It's like I take a break. I'm going to go like have a very pleasurable meal. But then I get right back on that horse and I'm riding and I'm going again.
But can they still be on the path to bliss, these people?
Oh, gosh, absolutely. For some of them, it might just take them longer to get there, because it might be, and like I said, because they're so fate and purpose focused, that if their purpose is that layered, they just have to work through a bit more. And for mission focused people, they just really may not give a fuck about anything but their missions. So they're not sitting around thinking, ooh, you know, what kind of discount can I get today? Or like, what kind of freebie am I going to be able to like magic myself? it doesn't matter. These are just extraneous details. But it could also just be that they might find that happiness is enough for them.
Okay, because their power is expanded enough.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, this is great. This is more than I could have ever hoped for in my life. I'm good here.
And when you say layered purpose, that just means that you do one thing and then you do another thing. What does a layered purpose mean? Because this is a new phrase to me.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. It is because you have a lot of learning or experiencing to work through one bit of your purpose. Like, I've got to go and I have to learn this language, which is going to get me to this place. And when I'm there, I'm going to learn some other piece. And that piece is going to bring me to the next thing. Okay, so you imagine the big fate tapestry. Mm-hmm. And purpose is almost that through line through the tapestry, but it's not a straight line.
No.
It might curve and turn to be able to reach touch points along that tapestry that are going to bring you the knowledge, wisdom, experience, whatever you want to call it, for that growth and evolution that is written into your fate, that allows you to, again, also keep on your purpose, which we know is to somehow serve the collective, but you have to do that through the most expanded conscious way possible, and you keep going. Now, if you have a layered purpose, I'm using my hands here, so you can close caption this if you need, okay? No, if you have a layered purpose, you've got to reach a particular touch point. You might be in that touch point for a bit.
So you have to gather what you need from it.
You gather what you need. And you might just take a right turn slowly. I mean, it might move you forward a little bit, but it might be more of a turn because you got to reach another point to be able to take from that. Which is why your purpose line might be just a lot curvier. Whereas other people, they're going to be moving forward. Touch point is further down. They keep going, touch point, right? So that's why one might seem a bit slower. So they're like, okay, why would I take any more time moving through this tapestry than I already have? Because I need to go and like fuck around with magic. That just doesn't make sense to me.
But then what about those who don't have a layered purpose?
Cool. It means that for them, it might be that they'll stay in magic for a while, because it could be for them. Maybe they took a long time to burn out and go through their karmic undoing process, and the power that we need for magic, and getting to happiness just might feel like more than enough effort, that they're just going to kind of, getting to bliss just might be a little bit more like sourcing that kind of energy. So they just might be, I wouldn't say circling, but kind of staying in that energy for a while just to kind of see exactly what they're made of. Now, this is, again, this would not be the same as layered purpose.
No. And then there's also those who stay there, but then they know they're going to fast track to bliss later.
Yeah.
The one thing that I would say is magic, whilst it's power, it's not happiness. It's just the power. It's the powerful pathway to happiness or bliss.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But we can't remain in it. And I remember that from our previous season as well.
Yes.
Because it's actually a bridge to the next thing. It's not where we stay. I mean, you could, but then you end up just kind of circling and without purpose, then your life kind of lacks that purpose.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And as we said, it was a bit like, I think you used the analogy, it's a bit like when you're watching those like movies and like the person finds like the room of gold and they want to collect it all and they want to stay, but like you can't because the door's closing and you'll be trapped forever. I mean, it's not doomy.
What you need and go.
Exactly. You take what you need, you have the experience, it's going to enrich you, right? The value of that experience is going to be
the magic
big.
is that you can always go back to that room. You don't have to stay there.
No.
Oh, interesting. So once you're out of magic, you're out of magic.
Well, you just don't need it. It just becomes a skill like any other. So that's what I meant when I said, so when you're in the room, you take what you need. Everything that you take enriches you. And so that
because
means
you
that
have
all
faith in
those
yourself.
Precisely. So those riches stay with you. So you don't have to go back to the room. It ends up being enough.
So does divine power replace magic as well as love?
Divine power can play into magic. And that's how we realize our divine power, which is why we get enriched and we take it with us. So it's not stagey, as in we're not necessarily in bracketed stages. It's all flowing. Once we've gone through our karmic undoing process, we're out of hell. We're touching on magic and stuff. We should be in flow. So it's all kind of flowing from that. But, magic, if you can imagine, it's really like a bridge. It's really crossing us. It's allowing us to cross from from K to B, right? From karma to bliss. Now, if we stop along this bridge, eventually, you know, we will weigh that bridge down and weaken it, which is why we never want to stay in magic, because if that's all we want, eventually we're going to run out, which is why it is maybe showing us our divine power, but it is not our divine power.
But once we're in our divine power, that doesn't run out. I didn't know you
Exactly.
could run out of magic.
So technically you can't run out of it, but sourcing it becomes more and more of a challenge, because what are we doing it for? Because while joy begets more joy, at some point you cap out. As we said, magic, while it is a pathway to happiness and bliss, it is not any of those things.
So what's the goal then?
The goal is to become lighter as we take that path toward bliss. And magic makes us lighter because it just helps lift a lot of those like daily burdens off our shoulders, right? So
And also it just
lighter-
allows you to see that life can be easy, which therefore makes you less defensive, which therefore makes you lighter, which therefore means that you're going to have more experiences, which therefore means you're more willing to have those experiences. It just becomes like, you know how we always said, like the old school adage of you grow through pain, but actually my argument was you grow through light. Because you don't grow through the moments where you do something and it blows up in your face. You just learn the bullshit rules about separation. Whereas when you follow your heart and it works out, that's actually when you're learning. And that's how you're bridging light upon light upon light, right?
Yeah.
And you're bridging happiness and all the rest. Getting to the good stuff.
Yeah, so the lighter we are, and we can continue to run light through us, which is what magic allows, yeah? The greater our divine presence, that then we start to get recognized for that. And that's really, that is definitely bliss by definition as well.
Recognized within ourselves or outside of ourselves?
Outside of ourselves.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, just to be able to bear that mark is really nice. So in the end, when we have that magic gift, because it is a gift, it's a gift that we bestow ourselves and that we enable ourselves through our own power. It does require detachment because we cannot have an end goal in mind. Manifestation has an end goal. I want XYZ things, right? If we try to focus on something specific, we end up narrowing our power in such a way that it can't be fully operable, right? Because, of course, you know, we can have certain conditions, but it still has to be broad. But this is why we bring love back in through all caps love, LOVE.
Which
right?
we've never discussed or defined before in our life.
Have we not?
Never.
I thought there was an episode where we had the capital love, then goes to love, then goes to
Yes, but we
LO.
didn't say but we never said what it was. Or the caps.
All right, I believe you, but in my mind,
No, I would have remembered.
I want to say I remember. But okay.
But is all caps love just that I'm in bliss with you?
No.
Okay.
It's still pre-bliss.
Okay.
It's still pre-bliss because it's,
What is
you know,
it?
again, this is magic, right? That all caps love allows us to remember our path. It's what gets us out of the room of riches from magic,
Okay.
right? So it returns us every single time back to the purpose, because it could be that in our imaginings, like when we embark on the path to bliss from magic or directly through our fate, that love, that most expanded way, it eliminates some of those unnecessary pathways and brings us closer to everything that remains in our hearts. So you know, it could just be like, oh, I'm just loving expanding my power. I'm just loving exercising magic in my life. I love seeing if I can go here and go there. Now, do you remember that episode we had about dabbling? You have those professional dabblers who are just sort of like explorers who end up not living their purpose. You need purpose for bliss. The explorers who just end up exploring for exploring's sake.
Yeah.
As in they lose track of their purpose. And the exploring becomes their sense of purpose, even if it's not purpose, if that makes sense. So when we bring it back to love, when we allow ourselves to be guided by that broader sense and connection to purpose, it brings us out of that room because it says, I still need more.
So what is the definition of all caps love? If one cap love is shining a light for others to see, what is all caps love? What is that?
It's the precursor to I am as I always am. It's the precursor to bliss because it's saying, I know I'm here for something more than just sort of like fucking around and finding out. I know exactly what I'm here for.
So I don't need to shine my light to find out what that is. I've got that light. I can just follow it.
Exactly. And I'm on that path. and I've got
And
it.
how do you exercise it? Does it have pillars, foundations?
No. The foundation is already built from the capital L love. So the foundation is solid. It's just the like, I'm so at one, I'm so connected, I can go do this. No matter what decision you're making, no matter what you're pursuing, you're still within the very broad bounds of your fate. You're not going to somehow at this stage of your life deviate or drop out. You are going to keep going and you're going to keep expanding, you're going to keep experiencing because you've tapped into the desire for more. That's what the all caps is. It's the desire for more.
It's becoming at one with your fate.
Mm-hmm.
And does this apply to everyone?
No, it's just mostly anyone over 20.
Okay,
so, I mean, at least it's our audience.
Yeah, because I guess the younger babies that are coming in don't need love or magic.
No, not at all. I mean, for them, magic is just a given, right? So it's just effortless for them, which is like, I mean, God, sometimes I watch them and I'm like, I cannot understand the mechanics. It's just such a given for them. I'm just like, how is that working? And they just literally, it's like the minutest of direction, of thought, of attention, and boom, it is their wiring. Mm-hmm. So even if you were born without wiring, living in separation for as long as anyone has, that's why it's like for over 20, that has diminished your wiring for this in such a way that you kind of have to sort of consciously through not just full consciousness, but oneness consciousness, be able to bring it back and rewire.
Fine.
But as we've acknowledged, getting rid of that separation wiring within is a lot. So we're having to kind of do this simultaneously. And that just requires a lot of effort. The other reason for this younger lot, right, is that love is just already an expanded version to them that we can't even understand, again, because of their wiring. We're learning it. We're understanding it. But because they're wired for magic, it's not the same as for us, where we're like, okay, but we've got to get here. Magic will remain a gift of theirs for those who are born with it. They're able to source it differently, which means they're able to sit with it differently and use it.
It's basically, instead of going to the genie, asking for each wish separately, you end up going to the genie, asking for all the wishes to come true, and then you just go live your life. With
Precisely, because it's not as if something that's ever going to leave you. So we're just going to see all the inner workings of magic fully embedded in our world by 2026. So not just through ourselves, and for those of us who've just been working through everything from K to M to B, but just as these young ones come of age, because this magical generation is definitely coming into early adulthood.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God we need them, don't we?
Yeah. We have needed them for a good time. So yes. And I was kind of wondering, what's that going to look like? It's really just, I don't know. I really wish, but they won't answer me on that one. So we're just going to have to leave it there.
No, but I'm into it because actually the magic, when you exercise it, really reinforces that there are no rules. And separation and magic can't coexist. So if more people are using magic, there's less place for separation. This episode is brought to you by Karma Magic Bliss. For more information, resources, and links to our books, check out our website, karmamagicbliss.com, and Karma Magic Bliss across all socials.
And if you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review.